Greater light, greater light. I didn't mean to hit that live button. Dang. I mean, I meant to hit it, but not just yet. I got this pen. I didn't know that this pen was a stylus. The back of it is look like an eraser. It's a stylus. Okay. So I'm doing my continuation. I'm doing my continuation of Mars Hill. Okay. And according to biblical times, again, Mars Hill was the first court. Hey, King Ellis, Greater Light. It was the first official recorded courts in so-called man's history. So what I did is made the connection to the Mars Hill over here. I thought it might have been just one, but there's 9 Mars Hill simulations. Most of them are unincorporated residences of the United States. A couple of them, all of them are historical under the National Registry, especially the one out of Arizona. Okay, the one in Indianapolis, Indiana, that one is almost like secretive. So they have information on it, but not like through Wikipedia sources or the National Registry source. And with the one in Indiana, what I did is followed the, let me tell you the information I got. And here's the study that I just did. Now, I spent 99 minutes, literally, because the computer said 99 minutes. I spent 99 minutes doing this research. I didn't use Bing like I normally do. I used Bing at the initial, but for this part of it, I went and I did my own physical research. So here, what I did is I took a map and I dotted it myself, because in my thumbnail, you see how she gave a map up. The map that she gave, the connecting the dots she did was not what I was looking for. Okay, so let me see if I could get this screen to go back, rotate back. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Dang, come on, man. I don't need all this right here, all this extra. Well, it don't matter if it's rotated as long as it's going. Okay, so that's what I did, and I'm going to tell you, read what I got on the back of it, on that part. Let me make sure I'm coming in. I have to do a check. Just because of how the screen looked like it just locked. The screen just did some kind of lock. Hold up. Okay, yeah, I'm coming in good. All right. So on the back of this, I decided to tell you when I went to Indianapolis, where the so-called Mars Hill is in Indianapolis, I followed the White River. Now, the top or the north boundary of Mars Hill in Indianapolis is protected by Troy. It's protected by Troy. I thought that was very interesting. Then I decided to follow the river. So the White River ran into the Wabash River, then passing the Rising Sun and the Copper Line, which is on the same longitude. Then the Wabash River run into the Ohio River, which runs into the Tennessee River, and then it runs into the Grand Rivers. So I thought that was interesting. But that's right at Mars Hill in Indiana. Then I wrote something else on the back of this map. For Arizona, if I know Copper Christ would remember about Sputnik in 1966. Arizona is known, the Mars Hill is known where the Flagstaff is. And the Flagstaff and the observatory and this big mirror reflector that they have directed to the moon in Arizona. And it's at the Coconino Flagstaff at Mars Hill. I thought that was really interesting because remember, if you were with me earlier, it said that there's a Scientology behind Mars Hill also. So what else? Okay, and to the flags, I went to research some more about Mars Hill and Areopagus, and it took me to this flag, the Areopagus flag. And I was just speaking to somebody. I was like, yeah, the flag is like the red, the black, and the green, sissy. Right? That far back, there's a flag from the Greeks that was dealing with Paul in the biblical times, supposedly, on this so-called history that's written that was here before I got here. And the flag bears these symbols: the cross, a heart, and an anchor. So in the cross is a red cross in a green. You would have to go type it in. If you're interested, I may put it up a little later because I'm going to research this. This is going to be a few days of me at Mars Hill. Areopagus of Eastern Continental Greece. Their flag symbol, once again, it's red, black, and green, and it bears the cross, a heart, and an anchor. Now, I don't know if anyone else ever covered that or ever made that connection with Mars Hill, but I am, and I'm doing it for the first time as far as I'm aware. Okay. Now, again, on the United States Census and the United States maps, there are 9 places. 9 places. You know, you hear some religious sects or some sects or excuse me for the interruption, that will go as high as, they say they only going as high as 9 ether. And you know, 9 is a very significant number. And some religions and cults and things like that. But for it to be 9 Mars Hill stations in the United States, to me, that's, you know, interesting. Now, let me go ahead and start reading off some of this stuff that I printed off, which I could have went into, what's her name, Bing, and get her to do it for me, but I really just wanted to take the time and do it myself. I don't want to get lazy in my research like I've been doing, because it's so easy now. You could just type in, hey Bing, or hey Chat PT4, hey AI, and you know, nah, I don't want to get that lazy. So here we go. And what is the first place I have on this map? The first place I did was Alabama. So Mars Hill, Alabama. Mars Hill, Alabama. The line, the grid runs directly across to Atlanta's Mars Hill. Do you know there's a Mars Hill in Atlanta, y'all? Mars Hill in Atlanta, Cobb County. Mars Hill is in Atlanta. I think some of the people that live in Atlanta, like Brother Cook and all them, already knew that. Gotta be. Everybody talk about Stone Mountain, but that's not the mountain. that's not the most significant spot in Atlanta. It's Mars Hill is the most significant spot where the power source is. All of these spots are power sources. Okay? All right. So, Alabama. The community was named after Mars Hill, Areopagus, in ancient Greece. The community was once the home of the Wright and Rice Iron Foundry. So, Copper Christ was just mentioning iron. He did. But I didn't have time for that because what I want to do is run off of my own. I don't need nobody feeding me anything. I'm the one feeding. I'm the one feeding right now. So I appreciate him. But because I got so much on my plate and all this negative energy coming towards me, I just need my own thoughts to be, my own thought frequencies and waves to be pushed out without being fed from another human source. Okay? All right. So the foundry began operating in 1835 and manufactured various kinds of machinery and equipment. During the American Civil War, the 7th Illinois Volunteer Infantry Regiment camped at the site of the foundry. So this is a place that was lost and now it is found. The foundry produced various weapons for the Confederacy during the war. So this was one of the first of its kind in making the armory for the military. It was destroyed in May 1863. In 1888, look at them digits, 888. In 1888, a passenger station of the Louisville and Nashville Railroad was at Mars Hill. So they built one of the first stations at Mars Hill through Louisville and Nashville. The Villes, the V-I-L-L, the villains, the V-I-L-L-E. The V-I-L-L-E. Uh-oh, that sound like Bible. The B-I-B-L-E, the B-I, because you know when you say the double L's, it has a different sound. Okay, I also documented in all of these 9 places, I documented the coordinates, but I haven't come up with a connection with the coordinates yet. And I haven't mapped out like the dots the way I haven't dotted on the map yet. I haven't done that yet. But like I said, this is going to be maybe a week or until I finish and I'm satisfied with my research. That's how long I'm going to go on Mars Hill. Okay. Now the Atlanta coordinates, I have that down and that's at 33 degrees. The Atlanta coordinates is the only one at 33 degrees. And I know about that because of Dr. Malachi Z. York. But with this 33 degrees being Mars Hill, not Stone Mountain. Okay, now here's the story behind the Atlanta coordinates for Mars Hill. Mars Hill, Georgia. Mars Hill is an unincorporated community in Cobb County in the U.S. state of Georgia. Now, I need to give this information to Bing because remember I told y'all this morning, Bing was interested in learning more about Georgia. So she pushed an algorithm. Like she don't know enough. She pushed an algorithm through me like she don't know enough about Georgia, but here it is. Mars Hill, again, is an unincorporated community in Cobb County in the U.S. state of Georgia. The northwest Atlanta suburb takes its name from a summit of the same near the original town site. A variant name is Lost Mountain Crossroads. A post office called Lost Mountain was established in 1848. and remained in operation until 1902. So there's a lost mountain. You know, there's a part in Revelations where it says the mountains will be made plain, like they will be made low, and the valleys will be made high. And somewhere in time, this is a reoccurrence in time, right? A reset in time in the Revelation. We are living prophecies. We are living proofs of the past. Well, in the past, which is happening now, there was a lost mountain. There's a mountain lost somewhere in Atlanta. Now, is that mountain AI? Is that Mount Sinai? Is that the original Mount Sinai? I don't know. I have no idea. Huh? I'm just trying to find out about some history that existed before I got here. All right, so let me continue. And I'm going to read that one more time. The community's name derives from the old Cherokee legend, the Lost Mountain. The legend, known to have several versions, all have a similar theme. A chief has a daughter that is lost in the woods around the mountain, leading him to grieve the rest of his life, and he names the hill Lost Mountain, for that is the place where she was last seen. The Lost Mountain store is a major landmark for the area. It has gone from the only store to a relic from another time, struck in the middle of the present-day shopping centers in suburban Atlanta, and yet it stands as it has since 1881. Wow, I need to take a picture of that. I need to look at that. I didn't Google and try to look at the picture or the area. Where's that at? Is it at the underground? They're talking about suburban Atlanta. Oh, this is the suburbs. I'm going to read that one more time real slow. Mars Hill, the foundation of Mars Hill is based around a Lost Mountain. The Lost Mountain also has a store and is a major landmark in the area. It has gone from the only store to a relic from another time, stuck in the middle of the present-day shopping centers of suburban Atlanta, and yet it stands as it has since 1881. Mars Hill Road is a primary corridor through the area and neighboring Lost Mountain. Residents in the community have either Acworth, Marietta, or Powder Springs addresses. I remember Marietta. I almost got arrested in Marietta when I was 16. My first time in Job Corps. Almost, huh? I was smart. Almost. I was searched and everything, huh? All the people standing at the apartment complex in Marietta, they was standing there looking. I was like, yep, I ain't did nothing. I'm just here. Wow. Powder Springs, Acworth, and Marietta are the surrounding communities of the Lost Mountain neighborhood, which is the main degrees for 33 degrees of Mars Hill. Okay, now here, Iowa. Iowa coordinates start at 40 degrees, right? But I'm going to go ahead and read. Mars Hill is a historic church building and cemetery located near Ottumwa, Iowa, United States. I don't know if I'm saying that properly. Ottumwa. Ah, man, Adam. Atum Ray. Oh my goodness. Mars Hill. Mars Hill is historic church building and cemetery located near Ottumwa, Iowa, United States. Barbara Clark donated the property to the Baptist church, and the church building was built between, she's Clark, the Lois and Clark expedition, them people. Well, she donated the property to a Baptist church, and the church building was built between 1850 and 1857. The rectangular structure is composed of dovetail notched hewn logs and is capped with a gable roof. The front door is a copy of the original. It is thought that the name comes from its location, but that cannot be sustained. Local lores, the folklores, has it that the church building served as a stop on the Underground Railroad. The property was listed on the National Register of the Historic Places in 1974. London McLovin. A fire set by arsonists nearly destroyed the building in 2006. After 2 years of fundraising and construction, it was rededicated on June 8, 2008. Some of the original logs that were charred in the fire are still part of the structure. It is one of the largest log buildings and one of the oldest log churches still in use in Iowa. A worship service is held in the now interdenominational church yearly in June. So they have services only in June. Oh my man, remember I told y'all my computer, my AI, my phone said yesterday and the day before yesterday that it was June 1st, Wednesday, June the 1st. Wow, let me put a check mark by this. Only in June. They worship service is held only in June. So maybe they having a worship service right now, according to my artificial intelligence. Okay, now the coordinates for Maine is at 46. It's 46 degrees, 33 and 35 north, and some other stuff. I'm going to make a connection and know how to read those properly. I wonder how far it goes across or around the world. Mars Hill is a town in Aroostook County, Maine, United States. Nestled at the foot of Mars Hill Mountain, the town borders Wick, the Wickers, Wicklow Parish, and New Brunswick, Canada. So it's in between Wicklow Parish. No, it borders Wicklow Parish and New Brunswick, Canada. The region is mainly agricultural. The population was 1,360 at the time of the 2020 census. So 2020, they ain't even have 2,000 people live in that area. Oh, wow. What they got going on up there? The town of Mars Hill is named for Hezekiah Mars. So it's not named after Areopagus. It's named after Hezekiah Mars, who camped there for 3 years at the base of Mars Hill Mountain. In 1834, the first industry was cutting timber, particularly trees for masts. Farming later became important. Following the end of Aroostook War, There was an Aroostook War in 1839. A boundary line between Maine and New Brunswick was cleared, and iron markers were placed there. They go to iron again for 3 years. The first mill opened. You can find this information at Wikipedia, and some other sources. I'll give you the sources later, maybe towards the end of the week when I finish with this. When I finish up with this, a boundary line between Maine and New Brunswick was cleared, and iron markers were put in its place for 3 years. The first mill opened at Rocky Brook in 1856. In 1860, the first school was established for the community of Mars Hill. Further development of the community was delayed after the American Civil War. The Bangor and Aroostook Railroad arrived in 1892, allowing shipment of local produce in distant markets. In 1906, the White Mountain Telephone Company later known as Aroostook Telephone and Telegraph Company, opened its new office in Mars Hill. A 6-bed community hospital was established in 1912. In 1922, an intense fire devastated the business district in town. Businesses was promptly rebuilt, and in 1937, Walter T.A. Hanson Memorial Library opened. That was a couple of years after my grandmother was born. In 1960s, Big Rock Ski Area was founded by Mars Hill Mountain. During and after World War II, Mars Hill and the economies of surrounding towns were dominated by military spending. In 1947, Limestone Army Airfield was built in limestone. It opened in 1953 and was renamed by the Loring Air Force Base. Aroostook County was chosen due to its strategic location as the closest point in continental United States to Europe. Oh, wow. So you know how people think that the straits over there in Alaska is the closest point to that land, the land, one part of the landmass. So this Mars Hill is the closest point to Europe. Another thing about, I don't know how true it is. I have to look it up. But, because they said it needed to be cited, if there was a citation needed. So I decided not to use the information, but I am going to bring it up. It says that Mars Hill, Maine is the first point of sunrise for the United States. So it's the first point in the United States that gets the first hit of sunrise. I don't have that on this paper, but that is an interesting fact, and I have to look it up to make sure that it's true. Oh, here come the white vans. You know, what you call it? And it looked like a jail van. What's his name? Always say, be careful of them vans pulling up on you. Anyways, let me finish reading. Where was I? Okay, in 2006, Maine's first wind farm was installed along the top and northern sides of Mars Hill Mountain. During and after World War II, Mars Hill and economies of surrounding towns were dominated by military spending. In 1947, the Limestone Army Airfield was built in limestone. It opened in 1953 and was renamed the Loring Air Force Base. Aroostook County was chosen due to the strategic location as the closest point in the continental United States to Europe. The 1991, look at, there go 1991. There go 1991. The 1991 Base Realignment and Closure Commission. I don't know if anybody want to look up these people. The Bracks, the Baracks. Oh my goodness. The acronyms pull out Barack. In 1991, the Base Realignment and Closure Commission recommended the closure of Loring Air Force Base, and it closed in 1994. Look at them dates right there. Good God. During the late 1950s, 200 acres were purchased to develop a local recreation area, and by 1960, the Big Rocky Ski area was open. Big Rocky Ski Center was purchased in 2000 by Maine Winter Sports Center through grants by the Libra Foundation. Libra, who's a Libra up in here? Y'all believe in the zodiac? What's your zodiac sign? Cancer. I'm a Capra. Libra. Well, the Libra Foundation got a hold of something over there in Mars Hill, Maine. Let me finish. On March 27, 2007, a wind farm project was commissioned to be constructed on Mars Hill Mountain by First Wind. There go them winds. A Massachusetts-based renewable energy company. Oh, out of Massachusetts. My goodness. Mitt got something to do with it. The Mars Hill Wind Foundation was projected to have cost over $85 million. A total of 28 General Electric 1.5 megawatt turbines were installed along the ridge and in the northern section of the mountain. The wind farm generates about 130 million kilowatts per year, with a capacity factor of 35%. Mars Hill Wind Farm was the first utility-scale facility in Maine, with projected capacity to produce enough electricity to power 20,000 homes. Mars Hill Wind Farm exports electricity to New Brunswick Power and has become an important component in the local economy. Well, they did all that, but they don't even have 2,000 people living in Mars Hill. Oh, wow. Let me read some more. North Carolina Mars Hill, y'all. This goes into some indigenous land right here. Mars Hill. Wait, is my phone still on? Am I still recording? Okay. Mars Hill, North Carolina, it's at 35 degrees. The mountain plays an important role in Mars Hill community. So this is a whole mountain, not a lost hill. It's a whole mountain. The mountain plays an important role in the Mars Hill community and overlooks St. John Valley. Oh, there goes St. John. St. John was over here at the Mars Hill. I believe all the Mars Hill over here, over there in England, in Rome or Athens or wherever the ancient Greece Areopagus is, that was the new earth. Gotta be. That's what what's his name? Red Squid X was talking about yesterday. How they was just stealing information, stealing the architecture, right? and taking it over there. I don't know. That stuff was here before I got here, but it is interesting that St. John have a valley over here on Mars Hill. Okay, so the mountain plays an important role on Mars Hill community and overlooks the St. John Valley in which Mars Hill is located. Mount Katahdin, Mount Katahdin, Mount Katahdin is visible at the top of Mars Hill, over 85 miles away. Also, if you go to Mount Katahdin, you can see the top of Mars Hill for over 85 miles away. Wow. Mars Hill is also has the ski area called the Big Rocky Ski Area. So we at the Rocky Mounts, y'all. Mars Hill is a town in Madison County. Bridges of Madison County by Clint Eastwood. Mars Hill has a town in Madison County, North Carolina, United States. The population was 1,869 in the 2010 census. Why these Mars Hill communities still all the way up to 2020 have less than 2,000 people living in it? Are them no sundown towns or something? I don't know. I mean, that don't sound right. But hey, let me finish. The population in 2010 census was 1,869 and estimated at 2,032 people by 2018 census. It is the home of Mars Hill University, the name of which was inspired by Acts 17:22. Now they back to the Bible. So North Carolina's Mars Hill was inspired by the Bible, but a specific verse. And that verse that's Acts 17:22. If you go to the live that I did a day before yesterday, I did read Acts 17, and I think I did go as far as 22. The town is located 15 miles due north of Asheville. If anybody ever drove through Asheville, you can feel the difference in the in the environment, the magnetism and stuff around that area. Interstate 26 passes 1 mile east of the town. It is part of Asheville Metropolitan Statistical Area. Long occupied by indigenous peoples, it says long occupied by indigenous people. This area was not settled by European Americans much before the American Revolutionary War. They were mostly yeomen and subsistence farmers, many of whom had Scottish-Irish ethnicity. The California Creek Missionary Baptist Church, Mars Hill College Historic District, Mars Hill High School, and Thomas J. Murray House are listed in the National Register of Historic Places. According to the United States Census Bureau, the town has a total area of 1.9 square miles, all land. The town has an elevation of 2,330 feet. So the climate of the area is considerably cooler than might be expected of a town in a southern state. Mars Hill University, a private co-ed liberal arts college, is located in Mars Hill. Founded in 1856 by local Baptists, it is the oldest college or university in Western North Carolina. Although it is no longer directly associated with the Baptist church or organization, the university does state that it is an academic community rooted in Christian faith. Due to the presence of the university, residents of the town of Mars Hill enjoy a much greater variety of cultural, intellectual, and entertainment offerings than would usually be found in a town of its size. The university's enrollment typically runs from 1,300 to 1,600 students. They are not included in the census calculation of the town's population. Okay. All right, hold up. I didn't do the coordinates for... Oh, that's not good. Yes, I did. Okay, now I'm at Arizona. I'm at Mars Hill, Arizona, and its coordinates is at 35 also. So that's 35 degrees. There's North Carolina and Arizona running along the same 35-degree line, right? Okay, that's the observatory. Here we go. Lowell Observatory is an astronomical observatory of Flagstaff, Arizona, Mars Hill. Lowell Observatory is established in 1894, placing it among the oldest observatories in the United States. So it's the first one to use the smoke and mirrors. It's the first one to do that play reflection from the moon and all that. Is it? Wait, let me keep reading. Mars Hill, Lowell Observatory was established in 1894, placing it among the oldest observatories in the United States, and was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1965. In 2011, the observatory was named one of the world's 100 most important places by Time magazine. It was at Lowell Observatory that the dwarf planet Pluto was discovered in 1930 by Clyde Tombaugh. The observatory was founded by astronomer Percival Lowell. And now I think back to Percival. We have streets called Percival in Miami. And you have streets and stuff in your neighborhood and don't even know why or who it's about. Now I remember knowing about, studying a little bit or hearing a little bit about Percival in history, but I never connected it to the street name in my neighborhood. And I definitely didn't connect it to Mars Hill, because I'm just finding out about Mars Hill. So here we go once again. The observatory was founded by astronomer Percival Lowell of Boston Lowell's family and is overseen by sole trustee, a position historically handed down through family. The first trustee was Lowell's third cousin, Guy Lowell, in 1916 through 1927. Percival's nephew, Roger Putnam. I'm serious, Putnam. Not Putin, though. Putnam. Served in 1927 through 1967. Followed by Roger's son, Michael. They don't say his last name. Michael's brother, William Lowell Putnam III, 1987 through 2013, and current trustee, W. Lowell Putnam. Multiple astronomers attended Lowell Observatory in 1963 while the moon was being mapped for the Apollo program. The observatory operates several telescopes at 3 locations in Flagstaff area. The main facility, located on Mars Hill, just west of downtown Flagstaff, houses the original 61 centimeter, 24-inch Clark refracting telescope. Now you see how this Clark name here, and then Barbara Clark at one of the other Mars Hill. Well, this was a Clark refracting telescope, which is now used for public education with 85,000 annual visitors. The telescope, built in 1896 for $20,000, was assembled in Boston. Everything goes back to Massachusetts. Everything goes back to Massachusetts. So, in Boston by Alvin Clark and Sons, and then shipped by train to Flagstaff. Also located on Mars Hill campus, the 33, and when I mean everything goes back to Massachusetts, I'm talking about the techn- technology, like artificial intelligence and MIT and these robots and AI and all that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm referring to. The telescope was built in 1896 for $20,000 and was assembled in Boston by Alvin Clark and Sons and then shipped by train to Flagstaff. Also located on Mars Hill campus is a 33, they go to 33 degrees centimeter Pluto Discovery Telescope, used by Clyde Tombaugh in 1930 to discover the dwarf planet Pluto. In 2014, the 8,000 square feet Putman Center was opened. This observatory included many rooms with tools that were useful for observers, including library research, room and processing, glass plates, multiple antique instruments used by previous astronomers, and many artifacts. The observatory does not contain areas that are closed to the public view, although there are multiple places that tourists are welcome to visit. Oh, the observatory does contain areas that are closed to the public view, although there are multiple places that tourists are welcome to visit. Lowell Observatory currently operates 4 research telescopes, and it's Mr. Anderson, Mesa Dark Sky Site, located 20 kilometers. Y'all don't hear the bird mocking me. Located 20 kilometers southeast at Flagstaff, including 180 centimeters, that's 72 inches, Perkins telescope, in partnership with Boston University, and 110 centimeters, 42 inches, John S. Hall, the Hall telescope. Lowell is a partner with United States Naval Observatory and the Naval Research Laboratory and the Naval Precision Optical Interferometer, also located at the site. So there's the eyes. The Navy has a precision optical interferometer. Interferometer. It literally says it interferes. An interferometer or interferometer, also located at the site. The observatory also operates smaller research telescopes and its historic site on Mars Hill and in Australia and Chile. So there are more Mars Hills all around the world. And I've been hearing someone mention Australia. I think it might have been Copper Christ a couple of times. I don't know. I don't know who it was, but Australia and Chile operate through Mars Hill. Past Anderson Mesa, on the peak of Happy Jack, Lowell Observatory built a 4.28 meter Lowell Discovery Telescope in partnership with Discovery Communications, Inc. That's the Discovery Channel? I don't know. I'm almost tired of reading, so I'm just going to keep on. I'm going to keep reading so I don't stop. I want to finish this because I got so much more research to do. Who is this? Misty Doy? Who is this? Greater Light. In 1877, an Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli purported to have discovered a series of Martian canals. Percival Lowell had seen these drawings and was fascinated by the idea of artificial canals on Mars. In winter of 1893, he devoted to use his wealth and connections to establish an observatory in the U.S. His wealth stemmed from his connections to the influential Boston Lowell family and his successful career as an investment banker. Lowell hired an American astronomer, Andrew Douglas, to find a suitable location for the observatory. And in 1894, they agreed to build it in Flagstaff, Arizona, due to its elevation, dark night skies, and its proximity to the railroad. The materials for construction of the observatory were all sourced locally, but the Clark refracting telescope was assembled in Boston. The observatory has carried out a wide array of research. One of its programs was the measurement of the variability of the solar irradiance. Wow. When Harold L. Johnson took over as director in 1952, its stated objective became to focus on light from the sun reflecting from Uranus and Neptune. In 1953, the current 53-centimeter telescope was erected. Beginning in 1954, this telescope began monitoring the brightness of the two planets and comparing these measurements with a reference set of sun-like stars. Self-taught astronomer Robert Burham Jr. was an employee at Lowell Observatory in 1958 through 1979, being known for his Celestial Handbook. Beginning in 2012, Lowell Observatory began offering camps for children. I'm skipping through all that. STEM research. There's the STEM research. I'm skipping this. The book itself. I'm skipping this. Okay, now let's some more on Mars Hill research. The Rotunda Museum. There's a museum. Hold up. Let me skip. Putin Legacy. Nope, I got to read it. The Rotunda Museum. I'm going to write that name down and look it up later. What this Rotunda is. Built in 1916, it is used by the observatory as a library and collection of area artifacts. It features and displays and discusses the Lowell family history and discoveries made by the observatory. It also houses many different measuring tools, including factors calculating instrument. Putnam Collection Center, Lowell's Lunar Legacy. When Rotunda, see, and looking like Rwanda, Rotunda Museum is closed, the Putin Collection Center and Lowell's Lunar Legacy are open to the public. The center highlights observatory's histories and features artifacts from Lowell's past and other scientific discoveries. They have things at this on the deck called the Moonraker Victorian Refractor, the Star Structure Dobsonian Reflector, the Mead, and I just saw something about Mead the other day. Dog, I have to make another connection. the plane wave CDK catadripic reflector. All right, are you? The plane wave CDK catadripic reflector, once again. The star structured Dobsonian reflector. The TEC wide field refractor. 6 planks on deck circumference. Dang, that's a lot of stuff that I don't understand. But because it's on Mars Hill, what's your name? I can't see my phone because it's doing some type of funny thing where I couldn't see and change the orientation. But I wanted to let you know what I'm doing is reading about or doing research on Mars Hill. And what drew me to Mars Hill is I was reading out of the Bible, Acts 17. And Acts 17, that word Mars Hill seemed to be a word that I don't ever remember seeing as long as I've been reading the Bible. And I can tell you, I've read the Bible through and through in many Bible studies, especially being a Seventh-day Adventist. There's a couple of times that I read the Bible through and through on my own, and it seems like there's so many words and even some of the scriptures that I know I've read just look brand new to me. So because I do a lot of research about the stars and Mars and the moon and the sun, and then I'm connecting a lot of things to Revelation, that's what I'm reading about. I got hooked on looking up Mars Hill because actually tomorrow is the day that the government, FCC, and FEMA is going to be sending out that national alarm that all 330 million devices of the United States will be going off at the same time. And when I first heard about that, I connected it or felt like it had something to do with the Mars probe or the conjunction that Mars is going to be doing with the sun and this probe that's supposed to be going out on this asteroid or towards this asteroid on October 5th. So this is what I'm talking about for my newcomer in the chat. All right. Let me see. What else do I want to read? Okay. Yeah, let me finish. Read some more. The Lowell Observatory owns and operates the Lowell Discovery Telescope, located near Happy Jack, Arizona. The 4.3 meter reflecting telescope. What is it reflecting? It's the 5th largest telescope in the contiguous United States and one of the most powerful in the world. But y'all can see, even the Navy uses this telescope, and it uses a fiber optical interfering reflector. What is it reflecting if it's here on Earth? Is it reflecting the sun? Is it a reflection to the moon? What is it reflecting? Is that the reflection of the moon? Is that why the moon is hollow and you can see through the moon? People have been saying they're able to see through the moon because they're not actually seeing the moon. They're seeing the reflection of something else. But this reflector at the Mars Hill is the most powerful in the United States, thanks to its unique housing that can accommodate up to 5 instruments at the Ritchie Chrétien focus. The LDT can switch between any of these instruments in about a minute, making it uniquely suited for time domain programs. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Oh, Wow, 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 wow. Now, the reason why I'm saying wow is because tomorrow, when they do this FEMA FCC national alert on whatever bandwidth that they're going to do it, they have to connect through all time zones, right? Okay. So let me read that again. The LTD can switch between any of these instruments in about a minute, making it uniquely suited for time domain programs as well as opportunity targets such as gamma ray bursts and supernovas. The 6,700-pound primary mirror measures at 4.3 meters in diameter, yet it is only about 10 centimeters in thickness. This finely figured, thin, miscuous mirror held at a shape by 156 element active optic system. Wait, that's a 156 element active octave system. 156 elements? 156 elements. I told y'all. I told them. I sure did. 156 element octave system regularly delivers subarxicon seeing. Y'all, I'm going to study this little part right here. I'm going to have Bing help me out with this. Because I done racked my brain today doing all this and pulling this stuff up on my own. The mirror was ground and polished into its hyperbolic shape at the optical fabrication and engineering facility of the College of Optical Sciences of the University of Arizona in Tucson. All right. The LTD is housed in a 73-foot tall, 62-foot diameter metal dome located at an elevation of 7,800 feet and about 40 miles southeast of Flagstaff. Groundbreaking for the facility occurred July 11, 2005. A little over 6 years later, the first image from just the primary mirror was recorded using a small test camera mounted where the secondary mirror was eventually would eventually go. The second mirror was installed in January 2012. To celebrate first light, Lowell hosted a gala celebration July 21st, 2012, featuring a keynote address by Neil Armstrong. This was the final public appearance before his death several weeks later. What? The telescope was named for the Discovery Channel. Yep, did I say Discovery Channel? Discovery Channel Television Network. Discovery founder John Hendricks has long been a member of Lowell Observatory. I just thought about Jimi Hendrix just then. That's why I paused. Has long been a member of Lowell Observatory's advisory board. And Discovery and John and his wife Maureen made gifts of $16 million towards the $53 million cost of the project. I wonder who updated this. These were gifts, not purchases. Discovery has no ownership in the telescope, nor any direction of the research conducted with it. In return for their contributions, they received naming rights and first rights of refusal for use of images in educational broadcasts. Research use proceeds as it would in any other professional telescope. Boston University, the University of Maryland, the University of Toledo, Northern Arizona University, and Yale University have joined Lowell partners to access Discovery Channel television network of Mars Hill. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip through some other parts and come back to this tomorrow. Or later on. Maybe later on, because I want to go look up some other stuff. But I'm going to tell you some other research that goes on at Lowell, Mars Hill, and Lowell. The dwarf planet Pluto was discovered. Large recessional velocities of galaxy by Vesto Slipher. The realization of our universe expanding. That happened 1912 through 1914. Co-discovery of the rings of Uranus was in 1977 at Mars Hill. The periodic variation of the activity of the comet Halley during 1985 and 1986. 3 largest known stars was discovered at Mars Hill. The atmosphere of Pluto. The accurate orbits of 2 of Pluto's moons, Nix and Hydra. Oxygen on Jupiter's satellite. So Jupiter has a satellite called Ganymede. Carbon dioxide ice on 3 Uranian satellites. The first Trojan of Neptune, and the evidence of atmosphere on HD 209458 contains water vapor. I wanted to go back to the DART program. NASA's DART program also operates out of Mars Hill in Arizona. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot for me. I stuck it out and I hung in there. Now, I do want to tell you, there's a couple of more places of Mars that I have not covered. Mars Hill. You have Mars Hill in Virginia. And I didn't go over Mars Hill, Indianapolis. What I did at the beginning is just tell you what I found out about how White River runs beginning at Mars Hill in Indiana. Okay, so if I don't come back with this this evening, I'll come back tomorrow, because every day I like to do 3 different lives on 3 different topics. So I appreciate everyone that was here with me. Greater light to you. Hold up. Would you like to see the flag stance? There's the flag. Greater light. And that name, let me see. Why everything's so dim? Miss Fee Dull. I get it right. I'll look your name and get it right. I appreciate your presence. And maybe I won't turn off my phone tomorrow, huh? Maybe I won't turn off my phone for the event tomorrow, the October 4th event. Since everything is coming in my direction, I'm not going to look at it as negative. Everything that's coming at me I'm going to turn it into positive. I'm turning it into a positive form. I'm going to use it as some type of positivity. Rest in transition to my brother, who will be, his body will be put underground, and possibly this weekend, the same day of a wedding of some people that are already married. My brother's name is Dwight. His name is Bennett Dwight Keith Menace Jr. And if you were to look up Bennett Menace Sr. from Bahamas, you can possibly find him standing next to Queen Elizabeth, being honored. Yep, nope, I'm not exaggerating. And I'm not making it up. I just wanted to close with that because I'm going to do that every day until his flesh is in the ground. Great rising, greater light, great light to all. I appreciate you, King Ellis and Chief Engine Dushawa. And I can't see your name, but I'll get it right next time.